house sites, one in Mugumu, where the original safe house is, and also in Butiama. So there's been a bit of a shift from the actual physical building that's represented there, but the same work is ongoing. And actually, every even year, so 2018 is going to be another major cutting season in the area. So there's a lot of intense work that's ongoing at the moment, including, you saw a bit of like education road shows going out into villages, but I know that's a really intensive, now is an intensive time to increase that education before December 2018. And I will ask in a minute, Rhobi, just to outline kind of what would be the most useful things that would assist in that. What are the immediate needs? I have put a slip on all the chairs there. Obviously this is a free event and we just really wanted to raise awareness more than anything, but of course all of this work does take funding as well. So on the links that are on that slip, there are a couple of kind of website addresses that explain more about them if you did feel you wanted to make a donation. But obviously, anybody making a donation, you want to know where that money's actually going, sort of getting caught up in admin and lost along the way, etc. So there are some immediate needs, definitely, that would be a priority for Rhobi at this point before the next kind of cutting season. The same 2018 December is the kind of next major cutting season, but as we were kind of indicated in the film already, things sometimes happen unexpectedly, because once you kind of bring in prosecutions and things become illegal, then the problem with that can drive things underground. So people start doing it, like on the film they're showing, doing it at night, doing it at unexpected times, so it becomes undetectable. So it's really, really complex work. But I think I will open it up for questions, but I'm just, Rhobi, is there anything in terms of funding, in terms of what immediate needs, things that are needed to help at this stage? Is there anything that you would say is an absolute priority for?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. As we see in the film, we need some support in order to protect these girls. In these two safe houses and Hope for Girls and the Women in Tanzania, there is no any vehicle there, and you see the work of the vehicle which is needed in order to rescue girls in the remote areas or even during reconciliation time. So also the girls need basic needs like clothes. Some they come with the only one clothes. They need sandals. They need food, soap, toothbrushes, toothpaste. For those who reconciliation failed, they remain to school, the safe houses. They needed to be supported with school uniforms and educational materials. So all those are some of the things which are needed at the safe house. And we are expecting this December to have a big seasonal cutting. So really it's a challenge. I can take an example. As we see, some of the traditional leaders are changing the time of cutting. Like this December, in June we had a seasonal cutting, just a small one. But this September also it was there. And we received an information from our volunteers in the village. They reported to us there are certain girls in a certain place they need to be rescued. When we supposed to report to the police, and the police they have only one vehicle, if it is as another duty or activity somewhere very far, we late to go to rescue the girls there. So really we need the vehicle. If we could have the vehicle, if we report and say this is the car here, so and then we join together we go there to rescue the girls. But also we received an information this September, it was 11th September, one girl died after being cut. And we reported it to the police. Bad enough, their vehicle was very far with another issue. And they late for almost like 3 hours in order to reach the place. So even the families already disappeared from there. They took the dead body. They normally throw the dead body in the bushes. So they took the dead body, I think they saw somewhere, and they were not there.
So a vehicle really is crucial for Rhobi. In the film, the safe house as it existed then actually had 2 vehicles. And even then, a lot of the times we were using our vehicle that we had hired to do the filming. So, which was obviously fantastic. In some ways, it was very frustrating because it kind of interfered with the filming. So, one vehicle is the minimum that Rhobi needs to get her work done, and that's really what we're hoping we can raise the money for. And her, well, you see it on that paper. Rhobi Center is now called Hope Center for Girls and Women Tanzania, because the building you see in the film is not where Rhobi's working anymore. There's some complicated issues. Rhobi's now started her own charity and her own 2 safe houses.
And also, so come back to Dr. Natasha. So we're looking at what's happening obviously in Tanzania, and that's been an amazing kind of portrayal of what's happening, particularly now with Hope for Girls. It's kind of moved on, developed since then. But just to tie it in with Dr. Natasha Howard's work, so I'll let you explain more, but I say it is really European diaspora that your focus is, but just how, if you could just explain.
Well, just a little bit about the kind of work that I've been trying to get started and trying to do at London School of Hygiene. Because obviously this is an extremely complex issue. And what surprised me very much when I first started looking into this, because a friend, particularly a Sudanese friend of mine, had been doing this work for a long time, and I became involved somehow through her work, because she's now gone on and become a psychotherapist to work with women in London particularly who have experienced FGM and of course are still dealing with the emotional effects of that even on into adulthood, of course. So I became involved particularly because what I saw as a major gap was in the research. You know, we know a lot about the issue, but we know it very much from an advocacy perspective, from people doing what they can in the circumstances.
The consent that we got from the girls was at the safe house, and what happens is as soon as the girls arrive at the safe house, they are actually under the care of social services of Tanzania, and Rhobi Samwelly de facto becomes their guardian. But we did get the girls to sign. With regard to filming them at night and those raids that you saw, we didn't get any consent because it just went with the police. I mean, there was no, everybody stop now while we get some consent forms signed. We just filmed everything. And then we went back to get the consent. And what still surprises and floors me, in fact, is that Flora's father and mother, they both signed the consent form, even though they're really mad at Rhobi, and they're really mad at the police, and they're really mad at us. But when we were back, before we left, they agreed that we could use everything that we had filmed, which was, when you think about it, quite incredible. But I spent a lot of time talking to the girls, and Rhobi, you confirmed that. We had meetings every few days after new girls arrived, and I would explain what I was doing, and that what I was really hoping to achieve is to bring their voices to the world. And you know, except for Flora, who just wasn't comfortable speaking, and that little Maria girl that arrives, who's only 8, she was just 8. You know, I really wanted her to be a big main character, but she was very, very shy, and she just couldn't speak, couldn't bring herself to speak. And yet, if you ever see the film again, look for her. She has a cameo in so many scenes. You would be filming another girl, and she would be right there. So, you know, she definitely understood it. She definitely wanted to be in the film, but she just didn't have the confidence because she's only 8 to speak up. I want to make a little point about what you said about the effect on women, and Rhobi, you can speak to this. Is that in Tanzania, Rhobi kept talking about memory at these roadshows. She would say, you know that your wives and your mothers don't have a memory when they've been cut, and so on and so forth. I kept wondering, what's that about? And then I finally, can't remember exactly how I figured it out. I think I finally thought, it must be post-traumatic stress. And I Googled it, post-traumatic stress memory, and there it popped right up. And the important thing is, tell everybody what they call the clitoris in Tanzania. What do they call the clitoris in Tanzania? memory card. Call the clitoris memory card. So it's actually well known that that's what it's going to do, and yet it continues. Did I answer your question?
Thank you very much for a good question. Always after the season of cutting, we do reconciliation between the parents and their daughters. So on our work, we are working in collaboration with the police gender desk, community social welfare officers, and the safe house staff. And we reconcile with the parents. And although we are getting some challenges during that time, that is where you can see some of the police, they carry the guns, but not in all families. That is, it's not happening to all families. It happens only if there is something, maybe a challenge in that family. Like you may see that a woman police, she's always with no guns and wearing the normal, even some of the parents couldn't know that this is a policeman. So we all be like the same as them. But the way you see they have guns, it's where we experience some of the challenges upon those families. When we go, and we started without any guns, like I can give an example in one of the families. It was
Oh, yes. Luciana.
Luciana. We went
She's
to
not in the
Luciana's
film.
family. We were just a Sijali with no guns. We normally have those police with guns, but they stay in the car, like in the bus, so even the family could not see them. Even Sijali, she has guns, but she left it, she leave it in the car. So when we arrived there, we started, we shared with the parents that your daughter, we are at our safe house, and we protect her, and this was the reason, you know, he was having a lot of sons, I can say. They all come up with these nice long knives, and we were inside, you know, the way you enter in the house is because the way you enter like this is one way to go in. If some others, they come and stand this way, so you know even any will escape. So they attacked us there, and they said, it's you who you keep our daughter there, and we didn't succeed our plans because we prepared a big ceremony for her. It's you, why did you start this house, you see? So the Sijali took her phone and called for those police who were in the car, and then they came with that another gun with them, and then they put down their knives and so there are some other environments which they are difficult. That is why you see we use those guns. But there are some, most of the environments we are just working as normal. Even the parents were not afraid. When you see the guns, it means there was something which happened, and then they hold those guns. Like I can see the way Sijal was outside the door when that lady was reconciled with those, asking the fathers to sign the consent form. There was a strike, I think, in that area.
Yeah, there was a protest.
Yeah, someone died, and then the community, the mass were
They were protesting. They were running down the street.
down the street with a lot of stones, doing this. So even we arrived to that police station in another district, and we were in danger too. So they were supposed to hold those things for us to continue with our work. But